Good evening, America. China is protecting its people's rights by not giving them any and not allowing them to complain about not being able to complain. Ukraine is tired of being referred to as the Ukraine and is out for the blood of its own people. How about being sentenced to death without a fair trial? Sounds fair to me as long as the criminal is a liberal. If a couple thousand kids are deprived of their childhood by being forcibly conscripted into the Burmese army, will they still love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? And if they do, will they know why? Are you raising a dunce, or is your dunce being taught by a dunce? Hold on. What's that we're seeing now? It's a bird. It's a plane. Oh, it's just your neighborhood-friendly drone checking up on you. While we wait for it to find those nasty terrorists masquerading around you as your neighbors, we'll find out what else in the world is falling to pieces here on the Colbert Report. Hello everyone and welcome to the report. Tonight our show is going to be considerably shorter because my writers have been killed by the Ukrainian military for calling all the violence in Ukraine unnecessary and a waste of human life. Now, normally I would have been mildly upset by the execution of my writers, but because the show is ending next week, I don't really mind. This whole mindless violence thing that Ukraine has been doing for 8 months now has been blown way out of proportion by the media. I mean, the military opens fire on one school bus and everyone just goes crazy. Here, Eduardo, come over here for a second.
Yes, sir?
Eduardo here is my technical assistant. How much do I pay you?
Well, I'm an intern. You pay me in Triumph layers.
The correct answer was too much. But anyway, don't you all see, mindless violence isn't bad at all. But this wasn't even entirely mindless. I'm pretty sure Eduardo ate my toaster strudel last week, which had a totally non-passive-aggressive note on it. So if I was a Ukrainian, I'd basically be in the clear for this one. Now, if you guys were Egyptians, you'd all be in for a high chance of bullet showers for witnessing that act. The word eyewitness has lost all of its meaning in today's world. Apparently being present at a crime scene makes you a perpetrator in the act. Do we even need a justice system anymore? I mean, come on. Most of the judges are too old, too fat, or too big-headed to get anything done. Why bother them to drive miles to determine someone's fate if the punishment is already clear? Death to anybody at the crime scene. Criminals have gotten way too selfish. First, they commit a mindless act in order to attract police attention. Then, they expect a 6-month trial to a verdict they already know. Death. In this generation, a criminal is no different from the attention-thirsty Miley Cyrus. All children witnessing her twerking acts should be killed as well because their minds have been corrupted. Speaking of kids and corruption, let's talk about how bad teachers are ruining the futures of our children. Once upon a time, I was in school, and it was pretty cool. I played with Legos, talked to girls, and did acid with my hippie friends. It was good old-fashioned American enrichment. But kids don't have that anymore nowadays. Kids spend more time tweeting about their feelings rather than studying. Now, who of all you spends time talking about their feelings at work? Yeah, that's what I thought. You work for the big bucks, the dead prezes, the cold, hard cash. An art critic won't find a cure to cancer, and nobody's really impressed by their knowledge. I never really cared why the Mona Lisa is smiling. But I do care why my iPhone can't load a picture of her in a bikini. Emotions should be kept far from the workplace, so far that you won't know you're depressed until you've already committed suicide. I personally think that the problem is these new liberal teachers. So, teachers have watered down curriculum to the point that it's almost as big of a ripoff as flavored water. I could pass for a high school senior with a trip to the library. Down the road, I think a majority of these brats won't be any good to the country. Currently, the only country that truly has fixed the problem of wasted child potential is Burma. They've been enlisting their children in the military. I feel that we should do the same. We already have the best military, but imagine if we were kid-friendly. Just think of the massive amounts of expendable units we would have. But until we get kids on the front line, we won't even be able to compete with the Burmese armed forces. Which, let's face it, is a massive problem because no one wants to be weaker than a country that isn't even sure what its name is. Not all kids are fit for this type of work, however. So, because I'm such a caring humanitarian, I took a trip to Burma and saved a couple of these kids so they could do something much more with their lives. Like being my bodyguards.
And here they come now. Come on, guys.
Ready for duty, sir. We will protect you.
Your life is more valuable than ours.
Yeah, that's right. Just look at them. They're so cute. Who could possibly shoot at these angels? Apparently, these guys can. But in theory, this is foolproof. You guys can go now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And remember, a theory is the next best thing to a scientific law. And believe me, I know a thing or two about science. I just watch the theory of everything. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. Oh no, kids aren't meant to be in the military or they're gonna get PTSD. But I still see a lot of parents that are willing to buy their kids the newest Call of Duty that comes out every other month. Well, I'll tell you what. These kids are going to be far more productive in the military than they would be in a second-rate school in a third world country. Also, if these kids are in the military, then they won't spend nearly as much time watching enriching programs like Fanboy and Chum Chum, Dog with a Blog, or worst of all, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Regardless, the people over in Burma seem to not care for the public's opinion on the matter. But then again, why should they? As a matter of fact, our friends over in China are going on the right track with public opinion. And that is to abolish it. Soon, enough people will be thinking that the Chinese eyes aren't the only thing that is naturally closed anymore. Let's talk about China's attempt to censorship. Here on the word. Speech filters. That's the term I've come up with for the Chinese government's logical arrest and trial of activists Guo Cheifeng and Sun Daisheng. Apparently, these activists were arrested by the government for giving speeches against the censorship of a certain editorial and attracting crowds to watch and listen. According to the government, they deem this act as a disturbance of the public order. I'm sure that the Chinese government knows what they are doing. They always do. The people's voice should not be made out for the people. Otherwise, it just gets out of hand. That's why I think the government should be the voice of the people, because the government always knows what the people want. And here to comment on the ingenuity of the Chinese government is none other than Guo Cheifeng himself. Let's give a round of applause for this guy who probably hasn't seen the sun in 15 months due to the jailing and trial system in China.
Very good.
Thanks for being here, Guo.
The government knows what they're doing. Don't believe what the government says! They're corrupt! Trying to silence us all! Please save us! We're being tortured!
I think this is a good time for a commercial break. Excuse us for a moment while we sort things out.
We went over this backstage. You done messed up now. You can't say bad things about China. They control my payroll. Bop! Bring in the new guy. Give him the old one's clothes.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Now, as you were saying, Mr. Trey Songs.
The Chinese government is doing everything right, and they're doing the right thing. And the citizens have too much voice, and the citizens are too dangerous, and the citizens need more monitoring.
I thought so too. Which is why I propose that we and the rest of the world follow in China's footsteps. I mean, why shouldn't we? In fact, we should be taking it a step further with my new invention, speech filters. No more words like corrupt, unjust, immoral, or unlawful will be used to attack our precious governments. Yes. These bad puppies will make sure that the public is safe from the dangers of freedom of speech. Yes. Should people get the urge to say something not viable by the government, a little shock device of a mere 800 volts in the collar will tell them that it's not a good thing to say. Just imagine all the benefits this would have. No more protests would be disrupting your day-to-day traffic because those who protest would be dead or jailed. Obviously, the safety of national security would be ensured, and we save the world from what would certainly be a nuclear war. Plus, they're fashionable. People don't have too little freedom of speech, in fact. They simply just have too much. And this is the perfect solution to it. It's not like the people are slowly losing their ability to have voice and rights in their nation. No. I think you'll find it to be the exact opposite, which is why I'm mass producing these collars and have sent the blueprints to the US Patent Office. And that's it for the word tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, About a week ago, I was hanging around Venice Beach, tanning, having some Starbucks, when out of the corner of my eye, I see something flying over my head. I had to double check, because I was pretty sure I was experiencing the world famous LA smog for the first time. However, as it would turn out, my tanning session was ruined by the fact that I discovered an LAPD police drone flying over me. As it turns out, the Seattle Police Department has sent gifts to the LAPD in the form of small surveillance drones. While the initial reaction of the police department was a positive one, many Los Angelinos are disgusted by the fact that the LAPD would even consider such an idea. When asked what he felt about the local police force using surveillance drones, a local homeless man stated that being under surveillance would make it a lot harder for him to hit on clothing mannequins. Quite frankly, I think police need a break from the front lines from time to time as a means of safety, because the work a police officer does is very strenuous on the human body. In an attempt to fit in with the community, the California government has attempted to contain the use of drones in Assembly Bill 1327, which would allow police agencies to employ unmanned aerial vehicles, but would require all photos or video footage to be destroyed within 1 year of its recording. And if we know anything, that's something police departments would vastly enjoy. Well, that ends our show for today, guys. Thanks for coming, and remember, the Colbert Report is brought to you by RC Aircrafts and GoPro. Get your kids out the house so they can get into yours. Thank you. Have a good night.